No, and just get like a 21-year-old who's good at social media to just like vet your people.
Right.
Done.
They'll do it very quickly.
Yeah.
And it'll be very easy. It's not going to, you can afford Meg the Stallion. I think you can afford a 21-year-old intern.
Yes. Who'd do it for free. They would just be glad to have it on their CV.
Oh my God. Amazing CV content. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do it.
Yeah, shit. I'll do it.
Like, I know I'll do it for free. I'm a doctor and I'll do it for free. Fuck it.
Sounds really, it sounds like a fun job.
Exactly. It's one of those things that is so important and yet so inexpensive to get that like it's sort of baffling how they don't have that, better vetting.
And as the conversations about the rights of reality TV stars continues going on, it's like, what positions are we putting people in where their safety could be at risk? Like maybe emotional safety in this case, but that's really important when you're already dealing with people's hearts.
Welcome, friends, to Reality Test. What is reality testing, you may ask? Well, it's something we all do every day, maybe with our loved ones over dinner, with coworkers at the water cooler, etc., when we check our subjective or personal emotions, thoughts, and so forth against objective or sort of more agreed upon fact-based reality. Although, because Dr. Ray and I, Dr. Kay, are social constructionists, we don't actually believe there's one true objective reality, but rather our own personal versions of it constructed in the context of relationships. But you get the idea. So here in Reality Test, we're going to be testing the castmate realities and the producer antics of our favorite reality TV shows against what we know as licensed psychologists about the reality out here, off of our TVs. We hope you'll join us as we attempt to reality test. That's it. Thanks, y'all. Now check out our campy theme song.
Are you feeling stressed? Your head's all messed? Well, let's forget all the rest. Fuck it, we're blessed. Cause it's time to talk reality test. Come with us. Let's reality test.
Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like. We're going to sort of like a theater with awards and such, and like Red Velvet Chair is our favorite theater to have our award show in. But this time we're doing awards for our Love Island castmates.
Woo! We're going to Fiji. We're doing our award show in Fiji. Cannot wait.
Maybe it's like an amphitheater. It's an amphitheater with beautiful jungle Fiji setting, and therefore we're going to be doing more like superlatives, really superlative awards. Who are our most cringiest, who are our most testosterboned and Bechdel tested. I'm excited.
Yes. We're doing it all. And we got Meg the Stallion to special guest our award show. Exactly. I'm just kidding. We didn't get that. We didn't get Paige DeSorbo either. We got no one. Ariana couldn't make it. But that's okay because you have the two of us. And and we're gonna give great awards.
We're equivalent. We're basically the same.
Yeah. I'm Italian, like Paige. I got
cover that.
We both have that.
I'm blonde like Ariana.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Meg, but,
you know what? I would take that.
I know. Right? We're close. We're pretty freaking close. I will say they get to guest appear just by us being able to talk about them. They're like guests in our mentions.
Yeah.
They become mentionables. So that's exciting. But before we go through our awards, let's do a little bit of a check-in. And I'd love to hear what's on your heart and mind today, dear Dr. Ray.
What is on my heart and mind? That's a good question. I'm kind of just chilling right now. I'm trying to think what's given me like joy in this last week. Actually, watching Meg the Stallion be on Love Island USA gave me so much joy. It was incredible. She was, I'm going to talk about it more in a bit, but she was like made to be on that show and be a hot girl coach. It was so fun to watch that part of the episode. I was like beaming from ear to ear the whole time.
Truly. That was the best. That was a total highlight of the show ever. Like ever. Any part of the show ever. Yeah. So good.
And was great business opportunity for her because her swimsuit line, everyone was wearing her swimsuits. And then the ads are like her new cocktail. I'm like, she is a genius.
She is. And they are too. Like they really benefit big. Like I love how Ian, the narrator, brought that up too about how there's like, it's like beautiful for the marketing team. Like the marketing team's jazzed.
Yes. How could they not? Yeah, everyone benefited from this. Yeah, so it just made me so happy. She was like so all in a way that was just amazing to watch.
They really like, I think Paige DeSorbo brought this up on the after whatever the heck that's called on the villa, the thing, where she talks to Sophie Monk and so forth. When she brought up that they should have her host that every year, I totally agree. They need to bring her back every year. Always host that challenge. It's a must.
No notes. Yeah, it was just great. And great to watch her reactions to what they were doing. She was just perfect. It was incredible.
It was so good. Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love that your frame for like what's on your heart and mind this week was about joy. Like what brings you joy from the past week. I love that.
Yeah. We all need a little joy. Shit's a little tough right now, y'all.
Shit's tough.
There's
truly
a lot going on that's not very joyful. But that was not one of the things.
No.
That was a delight to watch.
That was joyful. That was one of the things we categorized as joyful. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think mine would be somewhere around there too. My joyful things from the past week. Because my gardens are looking beautiful, as you know, from last week's video. And everyone should go watch it because they were in there. If you watch the full video on patreon.com/realitytest, you'll see my beautiful flowers that came out. And so I've also been living in like a sunny, kind of like Fiji in New England a vibe of beautiful colors and sunshine. And now Megan Thee Stallion bringing some sunshine onto our TVs.
Yes.
Winning. Yeah. I think I'll just live there with you.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I'm just ending it on I will live there with you, with the Megan Thee Stallion being my check-in too.
Yes. I might have to buy one of her swimsuits because they're just delightful. She just kills it. And yeah, that was so fun. And I get to see your garden next week. I'm so excited.
I know. That's going to be so fun. That's great. That's a great check-in too, is like being able to record our podcast together in person for the first time ever. Second time ever, because our first ever podcast was also recorded together in my office at work, as you may recall.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And we did one at APA. So this is the third time in person.
Oh my gosh, great remembering. Good point. So this is now our third ever. Oh, that's exciting. That'll be fun. So that's a really good check-in too. Good thing to look forward to. Rather than a check-in from the past, it's a check-in from the future. Yes. And the other thing you were going to say is getting something. What was it? Oh yeah, I was going to ask you, which of her swimsuits do you think was your favorite of the ones we saw?
I loved the one with the gold one with the uppercut on the boobs. I don't think I'd get that one. I think I'd probably get one of her like the one piece that Huda wore. But actually, I don't know if I'd do a full thong. Actually, the one Shelly had on was really pretty. I might do that. That was really cute. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to look through a few of them, but I kind of want to get one.
I'm with that. I know, right? It'd be fun. We should get them. Yeah, I think the gold one for me too was like one of my favorites to look at. Like I thought Sierra looked incredible. I thought that Megan Thee Stallion looked incredible. The 2-piece version of it too was phenomenal. And I think gold's always a good choice. I think, but then also for me, I think I was thinking I also really like the purplish one. The color of it, the one that Huda wore, is gorgeous. Yes. I don't like writing on my swimsuits though. So I think I would want to combine a couple of them together.
I like that. Like gold one piece would be amazing. I bet that exists. I bet if we go online, we might be able to find it.
Exactly. We should look through her lineup. I'm sure there's lots of good options. I love the colors she chose in general, like gold, that like interesting lilac-y color that the purple one was, and then the reds. It's gorgeous. And then a black one that I saw that Olandria had too. So it's a nice color scheme.
Yeah, everyone looked great. Oh, that was so fun. I might have to watch that again because it just made me smile so much.
What a great episode. Great episode of TV.
The only thing I didn't agree with was Taylor winning versus Shelly. I thought his twerking was weird. I didn't quite get it. I know he was going. I find him kind of an awkward guy, which I can respect. I'm awkward too. But there's something I don't quite have a read on him yet. I don't think he likes Olandria. I think he liked her when the other guy came in, but I don't see them together. I think they're trying to be Serena and Cordell, but I just don't see it.
They're not very sexual. Like he's not very sexual or like handsy or like flirty kind of. Like it was interesting when he was like, I like you, we hit on each other, we did it, and they like peck kissed her. He like give her a peck and then told them and then when he told them they kissed, they were like make out. He's like, yeah. It's like, no, you did not make out, you pecked her. Like get real. I think that could just be his style. Like he just isn't very hands-on or like affectionate physically, and so it reads as like not liking her for sure. And I feel sad about it because I feel like she needs someone who's gonna be like in it, including physically, which I feel like Jalen could have gotten there. It's given
I
time.
was sad to see him go. Yeah, I feel that someone in Casa More is gonna hit on him, and he's gonna. I just see that happening, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
That's coming up. That's coming up on Monday.
Know. I can't believe we're there already.
I know, me too. It's wild. It feels like very fast, but of course it's not. But yeah, it's here. We're here, Casa, coming around the corner. And it's so exciting that the girls are going to be the ones to go to Casa, finally, for once. Yes. I'm so excited.
Goodness. I love that. Because even it's just a whole different thing, like the women staying home versus the men. I like that. I like that so much better. I think that's a great role reversal.
Yeah. Didn't we do something last time about like what we would want to be different about Casa? And I feel like what it was, one of the things was we thought that it wasn't fair that the women didn't get to be the ones to go to Casa.
Ooh, did we?
No.
They probably listened to this podcast.
They knew. They heard us.
They heard our message subliminally, maybe, but that's fine. We'll take it.
They listened to it. Exactly. No, we put it out into the universe. It definitely landed because I'm just so excited. This is gonna be so much better.
I can't wait. That's so fun.
Yeah.
I hope that they are a little more player like. Maybe the leaving will help with that.
Yeah, me too. I hope they get some play on. I totally agree. And that they're playful and like letting themselves go, even just in terms of having fun, not necessarily even sexually. They just like have them, feel like it's their freedom to grasp and not feel like nervous about like, not doing better than the men would have done or something,
I love
Get out there. Get out there, go wild. I'm excited.
Love it. Well,
okay, yay. Yeah.
Should we get into it? We've got some fun awards/superlatives to discuss for this week.
Exactly. So you'll notice also, friends, if you've not seen or heard one of our award episodes before, that all of our awards, in this case superlatives, have the word test somewhere in there because we are reality test after all. So our first, for example, award and superlative is doing the most tests, where this is for the most cringe or embarrassing. Nope, that's number 2. I skipped right ahead. I was like, you know what? Forget number 1. Number 1 is protest this mess. So the first one is protest. And what mess are we protesting? This would be like the meanest, saddest, drunkest, or most obnoxious, etc. castmate. So which castmate would you protest, dear Dr. Ray?
So I don't necessarily think she's the meanest castmate. I did think this was mean. When new women would come in and they showed any interest in Jeremiah, she was very quick to blame the woman, which I didn't like. I also think it kind of goes, like, I wonder how much she's watched because it's kind of against the script of the show. Like, I think the women are maybe internalized that they should be self-aware enough to know that that impulse isn't like a great one. And I guess give her props for being honest. And I actually don't feel that way. I think it was unfair to the women because they're doing what they're supposed to do as bombshells. And it just wasn't nice. I understand her feelings, but I think there were other ways to process them than being so blamey as she was.
And even saying like, she's not a girl's girl. It was like,
yes.
Projection.
Yeah. I think she can be. I think she is good at being there for people when she's not involved. But I think when she's involved, she really doesn't see the forest from the trees. Because let's be honest, like someone said this, if your man, I don't want to use a black scent, but if your man is so easily stolen, he's probably not your man. So I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It says more about Jeremiah, really. And about your relationship with Jeremiah. Yep. I've been calling them Hudamaiah, too, for their combined portmanteau. Hudamaiah.
I love that.
And it's perfect because my protest this mess is also for Huda, and it's also not for her as in general as a person. But just the mess that I protest of Huda's behavior was calling Jeremiah names. Like, just really, really not okay and mean and bad example setting. Bad for anybody watching. Doesn't matter if they're related to her or not. Just bad examples setting. And I felt like, I liked that Sierra was able to be like, let's tone that down a little bit. Like that's where it's too much. The rest of what you're feeling is totally valid. And also like just the name calling is where that goes over the line. And I totally agree with that. And I feel like she did eventually stop calling names, but I would have liked to also see her say like, that was where I went too far or whatever, which she didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. She really, I think, can be in her feelings and struggles to take a step back from them, which is hard. I wonder if having a kid so young, and I don't mean this to stigmatize mothers who have kids young. I more mean, we've talked about on this show how like sometimes when you go through something that can perhaps be perceived as traumatic, maybe not having a kid so young is a big life event. And perhaps there was some like stunting of her own growth or ability to kind of look internally. I don't know. That's just, again, I don't know her full situation. So I may be reaching there, but it kind of came to my mind.
No, for sure. Yeah. There is something childlike about the name calling. And I think there's also like people of all ages name call if they haven't grown out of that. And it's such a bummer. Like, I don't know. It's just such a, like, it's a way of getting under someone's skin that isn't like thought through. Like, it's like you don't have to think about what it is that's upsetting you about their behavior if you do that, because you're just going right for the gut shot, like rather than thinking like, here's what that person did that's upsetting and calling them on that, which would be more effective, you know. But instead of thinking that through, it just sort of like is the first gut reaction is to gut punch the other person. And yeah, it definitely can be very childlike, and also just is like an unthought through way of attacking someone, which is such a bummer.
Yeah, I think she struggles with articulating like how she needs to get her needs met. I think she wanted Jeremiah to show up for her more, which I can understand. And I understood his perspective of like, I'm processing a lot and trying to figure it all out. So
right. And she's like both wants to put him in his place, but wants him to be able to put her in her place. But he doesn't understand that's what she wants because he's feeling her trying to put him in his place, you know? So yeah. It's an interesting combination there.
Yeah, I think they were just missing each other. But yeah. Well, who was doing the mostest? So what did you find to be the most cringe or embarrassing thing that you've seen on Love Island thus far?
Fabulous. So I gave this to Ace for the way that he made, there's a few different things, but in this case, it was the way that he made Amaya feel like she needed to apologize for being over emotional.
Yes.
I was like, no. Like she literally came back and literally apologized for being over emotional. I was like, that's so sad and not what it is. Like he's just acting out because he wants to be able to keep Shelly as his number one and like doesn't want you to get the wrong idea so that he can then leave you and go for Shelly. So like, but then his way of doing that is essentially it not undercuts it, like sends the message that she's being too much and that she shouldn't be calling him babe and that was so wild the way he like caught her in that, like built the story to be like, see, like you call your partners babe, so like don't call me babe. It's like, what? What is happening?
It was a bit, it was mean because it's clear that her personality is just kind of like that. So it was, and it was like, you would have seen that before this and you picked her. So like, he was doing like the withholding man thing at making her feel like she was too crazy, and it sucked. And he was playing a game. 100%.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, so that was super cringe on his part, and my feelings towards it was cringy. And like I felt like there's some things about Amaya's energy that are unique, and that like she needs the right kind of person for her energy and way of being in the world. And she's also so sweet and naive and like just trying to like live her life and be herself. And what she doesn't need is messaging around her being over emotional, because if anything, it's just going to make it worse. Like for her, it's going to ultimately end up in her like tamping that energy down, so then it'll come out sideways in other ways that'll just be overwhelming for her and the other person. So it's actually doing the opposite effect of what he would want by making her feel that way. So not helpful, plus it's mean, plus it's sexist. So
and
cringing.
She was intuitively picking up on exactly what was happening. I think she was unsure how to communicate that, but she knew exactly what was going on. And so she clocked what was happening, and her instincts are really strong.
Yeah.
So it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree. How about you?
I went back and forth on this, but I'm going to stand in it, and you can tell me why I'm wrong if you feel. So Hannah, when she was kissing Pepe, I don't necessarily have an issue with that kiss at all. Fine. It seemed like she was not going to share that information, but then Nick caught Pepe with the lipstick on him. And then she was kind of framing the narrative as though she was this like forthcoming person. And continued to pull Pepe and have these passionate kisses with him. And it felt a little like she was playing a game with Charlie and not being totally straightforward. And so then when she had so many tears when Charlie left, I think the tears were genuine, but it just made me feel a bit like cringe, because I'm like, you were doing a lot. It sucks that he had to leave, but I just didn't feel like she was totally honest. And she even admitted, like, she said something to Charlie about, or not to Charlie, but behind him, like, this is too secure. Like, I like more drama. And then there was a lot happening. So feel free to tell me where I'm missing the mark here. But in the moment, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, there was definitely felt like some game playing there. I will say, like, when they had that conversation, like when she had that conversation with him where she was like, it made me realize that, like, I really do like you, like having it go the way it did, and like thinking about the fact that, like, whatever, like, it was an indication of what you were willing to do for me and whatever it was. But when they reconnected in that one conversation right before the fire pit where he ends up going home, I do believe that conversation was as powerful as it seemed. Like, I think that's why she was really bawling. It's like, I do actually think that sort of like broke through for both of them. Like, he had just gone to Amaya. Something about him going to Amaya and realizing how cringe it was with Amaya that he was even going to Amaya. And then Amaya being like, whatever, I'm her best friend. Why would you do that? And then Amaya going to Hannah and being like, he came to me. How gross, how cringe. I think something about that dynamic is what made Hannah realize, like, oh my God, like, actually, like, what a sweetheart Charlie is. Like, he's trying to figure something else out, but like, it isn't better. And like, I do want him to stay with me. Like, I honestly think part of her was worried he would go with Amaya or something. You know, there's something that like happened there that changed her view of Charlie, whatever it was, but it did change it. So I do think that part, even if it was like sort of a weird gameplay reason for it changing, I do think it changed. So I think that might be a part of why she cried so much when he was leaving. But I do agree there was some quick, like, fancy footwork there, because then she's obviously ready to move on again with Pepe soon after, which, you know, all of them always are. Like, it always happens because they have to stay on the show. So they're quick to move on. Yeah.
And of course, that's the bottom line, is staying on the show and stuff like that. Oh, it was also cringe when Charlie was like, wait, let me say something. And I think they thought he was going to say, I want to get removed. But then he like was I was like, oh, that's cringe. That actually might be more brutal. Cringe. I revoked my cringe. I think that was worse.
That was so brutal, because they were like, don't even do it, because I think they all said to him, don't even do it, because they didn't want him to like self-sacrifice. I totally agree. I was totally like, oh my God, he's going to tell them to just go ahead and vote him out, because it's always the newest person, so you would assume it would be him, and so you'd assume he'd know that and would then therefore be like, it's okay to vote me out, man. I get it. Even after he got started too, he was like, I had such a beautiful conversation with her. Like, I thought he was going to say like, so we're good, you know, like we got good closure, and he's like, so. And then just leaves it at that. And I was like, oh no. I'm like, oh no, he wants them to keep him. Oh no.
Which I at first I was like, but then I was like, but they wouldn't have known. So I guess, but it did. No, it was a little cringe. And honestly, I think Taylor should have gone home. I honestly agree with Austin on that one. I'm not buying what he's selling, but maybe I'll be proven wrong later in the thing.
I'm with you. I thought that he, honestly, or Huda, I thought either one of them, I did not think Charlie should have gone home. I was like, he really is trying, and he's a sweet baby angel, and I felt sad. I really do like Charlie too, so that was a bummer. Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I feel like for us who are a little alternative or a little nerdy, like, he's hot, but he's just slightly askew from the ideal type of an Islander, because I'm like, that is a hot man. Like,
I think he's really hot. Yeah, I do too. Yeah. No, for sure. His accent too, but it's not just that. Like, he is a good looking dude, and he seems mature, like more mature than a lot of them are. And so, yeah, I liked him.
Huh.
Sad.
I agree. But wait.
So
okay.
Then,
So now,
so now there's the next one. And I would love to hear how you answered this one, but the way that I answered this one, so it's called testing 1, 2, 3, where the testing is the thing that we would make about production. We originally say like the best production ad, like, or the best or worst producer antic. And so how I decided to answer it was sort of thinking about like which castmate, like, presence or absence or whatever, that was influenced by producers, like which one of those was the most whatever, like best or worst, producer influenced castmate, presence or absence, kind of.
I like it. I think that's a good way. Mine was more like the funniest shit I've seen thus far.
Okay, great. I love it.
Am I going first this time? Sorry, I forget. Oh, perfect.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So I did the much memed about hilarious Hoda Nick interaction where she disclosed that she was a mommy. And first of all, saying you're a mommy, to Nick's credit, that's a little confusing off the bat. And then he's like trying to yes and her. And he's like, mommy? And then she's like, said something like, no, I'm a mommy. And then he's like, mamacita. And
Mamacita?
It was so, and then he was like, wait, a dog mom? And then it just went on. And then finally, like, he understood. It was so funny. And the more I watch it, the more I laugh. Like, I've watched that moment back so many times and it cracks me up. It's TV gold and I loved it so much. No notes.
Yes, truly. It really is for TV gold. And it really is well produced, like a good produced moment. They really gave us that in its full like drama, and like pauses, and it was so good. So well done. Excellent one. For me, it was pulling Yulissa at the beginning because they found all of this racist content, including like available on her Instagram, of her saying the N-word and saying it like not as the N-word or anything, like saying the full word in a way that was like very much using Black language as a Latina woman, and really bad that the producers hadn't seen that beforehand is really bad. Like, I don't understand how they didn't. And so that to me is like an indication that potentially they knew that going in, and that they would then pull her right away or something. Like, it was sort of weird that she got as far as she did before they pulled her. I was glad they pulled her. Like, if they really didn't see that and it was that like unclear or whatever, then at least then when it was clear, they pull her right away. That is good. I guess there was a lot of like fan reaction when they found that content of her, fans saying like, as soon as they give us a chance, she's gone. Like, as soon as we can vote, she's out. They said the same thing about Austin, who has been found to be a MAGA fan. So he's pro-Trump. So fans have also said that as soon as voting allows, they're also going to vote out Austin. But it was Austin and Yulissa were the two where it was just like, no. And I think particularly Yulissa with that content is worse, So I definitely think I was glad that they pulled her, even if it's also like a bad thing about producers that she even got that far.
I think it's the point that you've brought up many times of like producer vetting. And it's like, how are people getting this far? It does not seem that hard to look into some of these things.
No, and just get like a 21-year-old who's good at social media to just like vet your people.
Right.
Done.
They'll do it very quickly and it'll be very easy. It's not going to, you can afford Meg the Stallion. I think you can afford a 21-year-old intern.
Yes. Who'd do it for free. They would just be glad to have it on their CV.
Oh my God. Amazing CV content. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do it.
Yeah, shit. I'll do it.
Like, I know I'll do it for free. I'm a doctor and I'll do it for free. Fuck it.
It sounds like a fun job.
Exactly. It's one of those things that is so important and yet so inexpensive to get that like it's sort of baffling how they don't have that, better vetting.
And as the conversations about the rights of reality TV stars continues going on, it's like, what positions are we putting people in where their safety could be at risk? Like maybe emotional safety in this case, but that's really important when you're already dealing with people's hearts. And as I watched half of After Sun, like someone said, I think Callum, maybe his name is, talked about how abnormal of a situation Love Island is, and how like it can bring out different sides of you that would not normally come out because it's so highly stressful. Like, you want to have people in that situation with you who are going to be relatively safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, yes. Exactly. It is such a like intimate, and you're like literally living with these people. All of a sudden they're going to become your best friends, family. They're like family for the next how many months. Mm-hmm. So to have it be any sort of risk of them also having this other view towards you, or having the connections with the people outside, like the people that watch them being the kind of people you don't want watching you, and that kind of thing, the people that would connect with her. So dangerous. I totally agree. Yeah. Safety issue majorly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, that's a great one. Thank you for sharing that one. Now we've got the test results. Yay. Okay. So this is holding castmates accountable, reading their results, who we think has had the most or least growth in the past week, or maybe since the show started, however we want to frame it, since we're starting a little late in the game.
I love that. Yeah. Let's definitely do since the beginning in general for these. So I would say I gave this to just like a very like obvious, concrete way to Nick and Sierra for their growth in their relationship after they had the 25 seconds of sex.
That was amazing. That was
so good. That was so good. Just like very literal, he's like, yeah, it was the best 25 seconds of my life. Like, that's great. I love that. I love that he owned it. I liked that, like, because it was obvious to us. And if you, like, Sean and I both were like, my husband and I were both just like, okay, so they just had sex, right? Because you can see them in the shot where they show them at bed. Yeah, just like humping in bed with the sheets. It's like, okay, so they clearly had sex. So that happens. But then we see the women bringing it up to Sierra. And then that's when they make it clear. Like, we're like, okay, producers are letting them make it clear that they definitely had sex. They're sort of talking about the noises they heard and so forth. So then when Nick literally pulls Ace and like just like literally lays it out, it's like, okay, so in case anyone was wondering, this is definitely what happened. It's just sort of funny the way they built up to that. And then, which is its own form of growth, actually. But then I just thought that was good. That I did notice that Ace, like, very literally says early on, like, this means there's a lot more emotions. Like, this matters. He's almost trying to say to Nick, like, treat this like you should, which is that this is a serious thing. Like, now there's, like, a whole nother level of important energy here. And then, like, a little bit later in the same conversation, Nick goes, I was trying not to, like, let it go this fast because once you have sex, there's, like, a lot more emotions that are involved. I was like, did you hear what Ace just said in the same exact conversation? Like, but like maybe in some ways that shows his growth, that he learned that from the conversation, or like learned that was important to say or something. But I mean, it is extremely true. And so then to have how he treated her in the challenge go that way felt very like lack of growth. So it's like the growth of their relationship in a very concrete way was a big deal. But then his like inability to see why Sierra might be like prickly about how he was reacting in the challenge is a total lack of growth. I mean, even the way that she then was like trying not to hug or kiss him right after the thing, and he's like surprised by that. It's like, why are you surprised by that? Like, what part of you wouldn't have understood the importance of like how you reacted and like in the challenge, how the fact just even Andreina choosing him, is like wild, its own wild thing. Of course, she's going to have feelings about a lot of that. So yeah, I felt like growth and then lack of growth all in a quick succession there.
And it's impacting the way she's moving, because now that new bombshell from Tampa or whatever, she's kind of, she's not showing him and she's doing her own thing, which I respect her for. But it is Jeremiah too. Didn't he and Huda have sex and then the next day he was messy or something?
Yep. Yeah, that happened too back then.
And they had fought, and it's like, I hate to see men be so stereotypically men. Like, it's a little like, stop being a cliche, you're embarrassing yourself. Really, you're gonna do this after you had sex. And like, I'm not saying that because Huda's a mother she deserves kid gloves, but it's like, you should be thinking about that before you make decisions like that. Like, it's just uncool to me. And
all of them, just as women, deserve better, like as far as how you treat them the day after sex. Like, you should do better. And it seemed like he might on his first conversation, when he was like, I feel so much closer to her, yada, yada, yada. I was like, good, then he's going to take it more seriously in terms of Andreina, but he really just didn't. So then I was like, oh, back to this old trope, like you said.
I think that's a great one. Yeah, good call with Nick. I think he gets away with a lot because he's charming and kind of funny.
And he's like cute, like he's adorable. Like, people keep saying that he's nice, he's cute, There's something about him, again, that's sort of childlike, and adorable.
Definitely.
So yeah, he gets away with a lot. I agree. Great point.
Yes.
How about you?
So mine goes, I'm going least growth to Jeremiah and Ace, I would say, for a similar reason of, I would say the women that they were coupled up with got a lot of shit, right? And a lot of feedback about the way that they acted and have had to reflect and make improvements, because that's the way things work with women. Women are held under a fucking microscope, and then men just get to kind of move on. Like it's so cliche. It's like, are we in fucking 1996? Like, women get painted as crazy, as is happening in the show, and get online hate, and the men just get to skirt by. And it's like, Jeremiah was shady. He was moving very quickly too. And Alandria picked up on it early on, where she was like, you're kind of crazy. Like, not that that's a good word. I don't Yeah.
No.
But
But I
like
get you.
she was picking up on maybe something that was happening there. Like, and he was already talking very early on about how they were going to make it to the end. And Ace kind of clocked that too. It's like, so yeah, I think he was playing a little bit of a game and has not had to self-reflect really at all. And then Ace has been an asshole to people and has played so many games and has really sat on a high horse for someone who really doesn't have that much life experience. I think he's got some great qualities, and I think he probably is mature for his age, but I don't think he's as perfect as he gives himself credit for. And he was really shitty to Amaya and is playing all sorts of games. I don't know. I don't like the way I've seen him moving and passing judgment on people. And again, both of the women that they were with have gotten a lot of feedback, you know, both online and from the way votes have gone and stuff like that. So
when really they deserve a ton of feedback, like how they've reacted and how they've the high horse is like exactly true about Ace. Like such a great point. He has very much of the like patriarchal, patronizing, like I get to decide this because I'm not making a mess. You know, it's like you did make a mess, sir. Like the whole thing with Shelley and Austin and the fact that like frankly it looked like they had more than just met or whatever that night at the club, and it seemed a little bit like they knew each other coming in, like more than that, you know. And so I think it's like you actually created quite a bit of a mess and took no ownership for that, and then gave a lot of ownership to people for other things going on. But it's like they're just figuring that out for themselves. Like maybe Jeremiah really is just whatever, like figuring out because he wants to know what it's like to be a mom. I mean, to be with someone who's like a mom, he's figuring out that's something he can do. Maybe that's why he's focused on what's at the end, is like he's thinking about what it means to like become like a dad, a stepdad, or bonus dad, you know. And I'm not giving him a pass because I think that's his own issues, and I totally agree. His focus on the end was a little gamey, but there are other reasons that he was unaware of, that Ace was unaware of, that make it inappropriate for him to just like make claims, you know, about other people, and he does do that a lot. Yeah, I totally agree.
I do think that Jeremiah said that initially, just because I watched this all this week. I think he initially said that before Huda had disclosed being a mommy. Mamacita.
No, totally fair.
But then I do think he framed in his mind, I have to be serious about this person, just like you said, because they are a mom and I can't just play games with them. And I think part of that too is he was focused on how America might perceive him. I think there's that happening for him, but I don't know. I think both of them have growth. I'm not saying that the women who they were coupled with don't have growth edges. I'm just saying that one was pointed out and villainized in both cases, and then it doesn't seem to have gone the same way for these men, and that bothers me.
Almost at all. I totally agree. Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, for sure. I totally agree. I think there's a lot of ways in which they're working with like less information than they should be to be able to make the claims they're making for both of them in both cases, like for both Jeremiah and for Ace, and in terms of seeing each other. And they clearly have like a little bit of a like butting heads of sorts between the two of them. Like there's clearly something that's like not, and that's causing the other men to sort of take sides. It's sort of interesting how that's been working out.
Yep. And Ace does seem to have his little like posse. Like he does seem like a kind of ringleader sort of guy. And I liked that Austin went to Jeremiah. Behind the curtain, Dr. Kay just told me that he was a MAGA supporter, and I'm so bummed because I kind of liked him. Not that we can't hold both, and at the same time, it's going to take away from my feelings about how I feel about Austin. Like he loses some points in my mind.
It does. It does cost him some points because it also makes just some of the things that we liked about him take on a different flavor when it's like, okay, so he's at least, even if he is like bi guy adjacent, he's not aware of that part of himself, I'm imagining. Or if he is, then he's not aware of like the oppression that Trump is creating for folks who are bi. So
yes, there was some bi guy energy that I was like, at first I didn't like him. And then I was like, oh, you're kind of like secure in your masculinity enough to like kiss men and say you're jealous when men are hugging when you're in the shower. And I still loved those moments. It's just, just like you said, the fact that the MAGA element is there is just a bummer.
Changes how we can see those moments. Exactly. So bummer. This means that we're right. Are we on to my favorite and favorite and favorite? So we're on to my favorite award of all time. This is the TestosterBONED award, exactly, where we're giving this to the most patriarchal, white supremacist, misogynist, heterosexist, etc. castmate. It could be a moment that castmate perpetuated or perpetrated or whatever, but essentially it's where somebody's testosterone got in the way and boned themselves with their testosterone, essentially, in a way that results in a patriarchal, sexist, heterosexist moment. Racist.
I chose Nick. Again, holding both, I really like Nick. So going back to my favorite moment of the show thus far, when Huda disclosed that she was a mother and like disclosed something quite intimate to him, I felt I wanted him to then turn around and give her more empathy and more grace. Not that she deserves a pass for everything she's done, but to like contextualize it. And I didn't really, he had that one conversation with Jeremiah, which he kind of did, but then kind of didn't. But then he voted against her, which I thought was it felt kind of unfair to me.
I agree.
And like, I think clearly Huda saw him as like an ally, and it just didn't feel like it was reciprocated. Like she trusted him with something that's a big deal to her. So it it just bummed me out, and I found it sexist.
I'm with that. I think it's also like because Jeremiah trusted him immensely and inherently too, implicitly. So it's like such a bummer about their friendship too, because clearly Nick didn't feel the same way about Jeremiah that Jeremiah did about Nick.
No. Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, I don't like it. I have like, just as the like honorable mention, obviously Yulissa being evacuated. The reason she was being evacuated for the show and her racism means that like she kind of gets number one for that. But other than that, so this is like a little bit more nuanced thing that I've been sort of tracking, which is that if I'm really honest about it, I think Alondria really likes Ace and wants Ace and wishes that Ace wanted Alondria. And I think there are moments where I see that really clearly. Like, for example, when she's allowed to do it without anyone knowing, she'll kiss Ace. Like, right? Like the whole thing that happened that time with the secret kissing, she kissed Ace. There's also the scene, like, when she had to pick somebody to kiss, she kissed Ace. You know, the thing for the most recent challenge. So there's some obvious moments where it's clear she really likes him and, like, wants him. But there's also moments where I felt like she was, like, kind of, like, boning Shelly in order to like come out on top with him a little bit. So I was thinking about that time when Amaya kind of came for Shelly a little bit up in the dressing room and was sort of like, why didn't you tell me that you and Ace had like a thing going on? And they get in this little fight. And then meanwhile, Ace is waiting downstairs for Shelly to come down for them to do this like special yoga date. And we see Alondria come down first, and she sort of walks by Ace as if she doesn't even know he's there. And then he says something, and she's like startled by the fact he's there, which to me just like immediately felt inauthentic. Like I was like, you knew he was sitting there. I don't know. It felt like she was definitely like caught off guard, quote unquote, by him being there. And so then he's asking her like, what's going on? And her response is so wild. She's like, well, I think you just need to be more authentic or like more transparent with everyone you're interested in. And she says basically like, you know, you need to be more clear. She is being in that moment so unclear. Like she's telling him to be clear in a way that's like very unclear what she's talking about. And she's like, so then she's like, so then it looks like people are walking around sneaky. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like how? What does that have to do with this at all? Like it seems so unrelated to what was going on. And it felt pretty specifically targeted in a way that felt very like self-serving. So then Ace ends up saying, so should I just cancel the date? She goes, yeah. I was like, really? Like, why should he cancel the yoga date? Like, I don't think so, you know? Yeah. I don't even really think that was good advice. And so I just, in that moment, felt like she was pushing for a different set of outcomes than, like, supporting Shelly, per se.
That's a good clock. I did feel that way, especially when they made out. And yeah, they have had a few sneaky kisses, but I kind of lost the thread on that and kind of thought that maybe it faded into the background. But now I'm going to be more attuned to it because you very well might be onto something. Because again, I don't see it with her and Taylor. So maybe that's the different sort of connection that's brewing.
Exactly. And it just feels shitty because she and Shelly are friends. So it feels very testosterone-y.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm excited to keep my eye on this. Thank you for putting it out there.
For sure.
Yes. So now to cleanse our souls from that testosterone energy, we have the Bechdel test, which is the most feminist, anti-racist, gay moments of the week. So what did you choose?
Fabulous. Yay. So in this way, I've chose my favorite castmate of all of the castmates, which we talked about a little bit off set too, or off camera too, who is Shelly. I just love Shelly so much.
She's amazing.
She's phenomenal in like all of the ways. I just really adore her. She's so classy and smart and funny and like friendly. And she's very woman-centered and still like very self-aware. And also like she goes for what she needs to. And I love that. And so I wanted to give her the Bechdel test for the way that she responded to Amaya in that all-out affront that happened in the dressing room. The way that Amaya was sort of like not making any room for Shelley's response at all. And Shelley clocked that and sort of like let Amaya finish out her thoughts and then said like, okay, but if you'd let me now talk, without it getting mean. Like she wasn't like then louder or mean. And she noticed that she still needed to let Amaya still fizzle out, like finish getting the rest of her energy out. And I think Shelley did a beautiful job like letting that happen and then still addressing it. And I think she did a really nice job being mature about it and saying like, right, like I didn't want to do that to you. I'm sorry that happened that way. I felt like I did tell you back here that I was interested in Ace. And, you know, so she still stood up for herself, but in a non, you know, she didn't match Amaya's energy about it. She kept her own energy about it and was very able to like address it calmly, professionally, really, and in a way that I thought that was very, very woman-centered. I felt it was very feminist and like friendship-centered in a way that could salvage her friendship with Amaya, which I really loved.
And I think they did then in later episodes salvage it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the EQ for Shelley is so high. I'm like, I'm a little bit in love with her. She's just a delight. I don't know. No notes about Shelley. She's just rocking it. I feel like she's carrying the show on her back. Like she's just the most fun to watch. And I love watching her. And if she ever gets voted off, I will be devastated. I don't think it's going to happen, but you know.
No, she can't. No, I think all the fans love her too. I think you're right. She won't get voted off. If she does, it'll be for some freak reason that's like not intentional. Like the audience won't have wanted her to be if she's ever somehow accidentally thrown off the show. And I think it's the same thing with the cast too. I don't think they would ever intentionally either. So it would be some freak reason, like, you know, related to Ace stepping out on her during Casa Amor or something like that, which would be so messed up, and he fucking better not. But
and very well might happen. Yeah. I'm 50-50 on that. I'm not really sure. Yeah. He's so smug in himself that he might not, but he also very well might. I don't know.
Right. I loved what they brought up in I think it might have been, I don't remember if it was Sophie Monk or who it was. It might have even, but somebody on the after the final rose, somebody on the After Sun, that's what it is. Somebody on After Sun brought up the fact that they think that Ace is going to be the kind of person who like eggs everyone on from afar, but then doesn't do anything himself. And it's just sort of like, hey, I didn't do that. You guys did. Like, I think that's totally his role too. I can definitely see that. And if he steps out, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah. Pissed. I will be. I hope Shelley steps out, honestly.
Me too.
She deserves the world.
She truly does. Truly does. If she finds someone who's even better for her, I'd much prefer it. The one thing I'm hoping they don't do is, because sometimes they'll do this thing where they like invite back people that were on it, like actually already on the show too. Right. Like they could bring back Jalen, or they could bring back somebody for somebody else. So I'm sort of hoping they don't like fill the cast with that kind of a folk, because I do want there to be options for Shelley. Like, you know.
Totally.
Which Jalen wouldn't be. So, yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Hopeful.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yes. I hope. I can't wait for Casa. This is going to be such a fun week.
Truly.
Oh, that was a great one.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So mine was easy. It was Meg the Stallion gassing the women up. And it was just incredible. The like feminist energy that Meg the Stallion was exuding. She singled out every single person and gassed them up or gave them some feedback, even with Amaya, when she kind of lovingly was like, sometimes I don't know what you're going to say. It was like loving and well-meaning. And to Huda, she saw the situation for what it was, and I really think helped her get her groove back. Like, I really do give Meg the Stallion credit for that. Like, I think Huda's in much better spirits, and she's trying, and she's open. And I really saw a shift with the way Meg kind of approached her. And then with the twerk off where she killed it. It was awesome. It was like, so I just loved seeing that sort of energy. It just made me really happy. So that's
she helped Huda get.
And then my honorable mention was the bi content, including Shelley. Shelley is so openly, like, non-defensively bi. I mean, she doesn't identify as bi. I think she just acknowledges like her fluidity. But like the matter-of-fact way, she's like, yeah, my ex-girlfriend, and then I was with this other woman, and like is not like ooh about it. Just like, this is what it is. It's not for you. This is my thing. And
loved it.
Austin, now that I know he's a MAGA, this is a little clouded. And I do like when he kissed a man and was like, don't be afraid. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then in the shower, when the two guys were hugging, he was like, I'm so jealous right now. It made me cheese from ear to ear. I wish his politics weren't what they were. And frankly, I didn't like him really at first. I found him quite annoying, but he grew on me. And now is going back down again. So
yeah.
It's
like if you could just distill out, just that data, just the data points that were more bi guy adjacent, then that would be great. If there's just those moments, then we and I agree. Those were good Bechdel test moments.
Yes.
On their own, in isolation.
Yes.
I also wanted to say too, I love how Sierra has been obsessed with trying to kiss Shelly. Like,
yes.
I love that too. Other good
I'm obsessed with Sierra too. I'd say she's my number
Sierra
two.
Shelly
Like Shelly's my fave. And I just think Sierra is also fabulous. Like so strong in who she is. It's just, I don't know. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And classy and professional and like sort of and like very, but fully herself, and yet like also loving and very girl oriented, girly. But yeah, I totally agree. Those two are my two top favorite too, for sure. And then Alondria probably number 3. Like it probably just goes sort of like in that because they're just they're fabulous. I think they'll be a big part of this season for a long time.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Yay. Okay, fabulous. So, second to last award. They were the worst test of friends. They were the best test of friends, also known as the detestable and the attestable friendship or relationship moments, or castmates.
I already talked about this, but I'm just going to put a cap on it. So Ace and Shelly, I love Shelly, huge fan, pretty ride or die. But she was playing a game too. They were both playing a game where they were each other's end goal in that game. Yeah. It was just like they didn't want to admit how much they liked each other. So the way to do that was then to use Amaya and Austin as pawns in their game. And I guess I get it, but it's just not that cool and it's not kind. And like, I think a part of Shelly did like Austin. I actually do. But I think she knew that she didn't like him nearly as much as she liked Ace.
Right. Same. Yeah, that was kind of shady behavior.
Yeah. It wasn't the best. And I understand why she did it, because she wasn't getting clear signals from Ace and wanted to be at the same level as him in that game that he was playing. So I understand why she did it. I just didn't love to see it. Yeah.
And in fact, she was the one who let it get a little further than Ace did as far as the other person and their like for her. 'Cause she did genuinely like Austin, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
And I also found myself wishing she knew about him being MAGA. Ugh.
Yeah, that would have helped. I think it would have shut that shit down a lot quicker.
Shut her right down. Yeah, I hope even. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ugh. Okay, good one. Mine was, again, like a little twofer, where my honorable mention went to Huda pulling Pepe, despite Hannah being one of the only people who had her back. And I immediately clocked, like, as soon as she grabbed Pepe, the first thing I said to Sean was like, dude, Hannah's the only one who's even had her back. Like, she's gone to her when she's crying and everything like that. And at first we didn't see that part of it. Like, they didn't show us that on the show. And I was sitting there like, what the hell? Like, and then we started seeing it get brought up and eventually Hannah even acknowledging it and even saying like it really upset her. I was so glad. I was glad that she acknowledged it upset her. I was glad that even when Hannah, who finally brought it to Huda, who finally brought it to Hannah, even when Hannah acknowledged to Huda, who finally brought it to Hannah, I like that she was able to say, like, yeah, that did upset me. Like, that was. She's like, you didn't need my permission, but you should have told me about it. Yeah. And I still feel like Huda didn't fully get it, honestly. Like, it felt like she was going through the motions or, like, knew what to say or, like, was trying to say the right things. Not that, like, she really felt for what it would have felt like to be Hannah. So I felt like a little bit short end of the stick there for Hannah. But I did think that was a moment of not good friendship, and I was glad that at least Huda did end up bringing it up, in whatever form that was, even if it wasn't complete. The other one, though, the one I wanted to spend more time on just by a duty bit, is the Nick and Jeremiah of it all, because it's so clear that, like, Jeremiah thinks that Nick is, like, his best friend. He even says to Huda, like, he's my best friend in here. Oh my God, it's so sad. And then it's so clear Nick does not feel that way about Jeremiah. And it to me, it was like really clear early on that Nick was dying for Ace's approval. And I think Ace kind of set that up in general in the house, that he was like the guy whose approval people would want. And then Jeremiah wasn't giving it to him because he's sort of like, whatever, fuck you kind of thing, which I like. I like that he didn't feel like he had to capitulate. But then like it then turned everyone against Jeremiah, and everyone got so annoyed with how Jeremiah was always talking about Huda, and everyone was so sick of talking about Huda and Jeremiah and da-da-da-da. And then it turned into this like real dislike for Jeremiah, whom I felt like was like being reinforced to talk about Huda. Like everyone wanted to know, and was a part of it. And then suddenly everyone was like, oh, no, we need to stop talking about it. Like just whatever it takes to stop hearing about it and blah, blah, blah. It's like, y'all, this is part of the show. Like when there's big relational content, y'all talk about it. That's part of what we want to see too. We want to see your opinions about it, not just you being shut up about it. So like that was frustrating. And then I felt like in addition to like seeing that when it was so clear, like for example, the fact that Nick pulled Ace, not Jeremiah, to talk about having sex with Sierra, like that was another moment of clear preferences. But then just as the like cap on the top of it, to like cherry on top of the sundae there, during the challenge, when he and Sierra got the bucket that said, whom do you think needs to leave next, should go next? Sierra says to Nick, I already know who you're going to do, but you have to say it. And they choose Jeremiah. Oh, that's sad. I felt so bad.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah, me too. It's like his only best friend from his perspective and like wants you out. And Sierra told Nick has to be the one to say it. So it means Nick is the one. And they didn't show it. They actually skipped over it. They didn't show us who said it, but apparently it was Nick saying out loud, Jeremiah, and then him getting the bucket. Oh, it's so painful. I felt so bad. So just that friendship dynamic, I felt really sad for. And clearly they are the worst test of friends because of Nick's inability to see that part of Jeremiah's desire to be best friends. And like that Jeremiah was putting a lot of energy into that dynamic. So now we really only see Jeremiah with Austin or whatever, you know. So that's sad. I feel bad for him.
And disclosing some pretty big, like they trusted him with the Huda things, and he did not handle it with care at all, despite the hilarious moment that I will love for the rest of my life.
That's great.
He didn't handle it with care, and that sucks because it is a big deal.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think it could have been like funny and, you know, and even it could be somebody he doesn't like or whatever. It could have turned out he still really doesn't like Jeremiah and he still could have handled it better. You know, it's like all those things could have been true at once and he could have like really, and he did say like, I love that because like, I love being a, you know, a god dad or whatever he is, like the thing that made him think of it and like how he loves kids too. That was great. And like, I wish we'd gotten more of that part of him because then that was it. The next thing we hear is him saying to Jeremiah, like, I want you to know how serious this is. Like, of course I'm excited too, but like, this is really serious and I'm worried about you. Like, I'm worried about you taking it seriously, basically is what he's saying, which is like kind of offensive. Yeah. So
some weird stuff. And granted, there's a part of me that thinks that Huda should have just owned that she was a mom from the beginning because the withholding, I think, creates, it does not set anyone up for success.
No.
But I've never been in that position, so I don't know what that's like, and I'm sure it sucks.
Right. I'm sure having the judgment from people of like, why are you here if you have a kid at home is shitty, because it's sort of like the whole point is that this is for her kid at home eventually, right? Like to have somebody to bring home to her kid or to have the additional money from being famous from the show. I mean, there's like ways in which there's like real benefits to the kid too, and the kid getting to see her mom growing and so forth on TV is really cool if she's growing and learning from what's going on, you know? So yeah, I kind of think it's like no one's business. And I don't like the judgment, the mommy judgment that's coming from it. So I get her desire to like not open herself up to that kind of mommy judgment from the whole cast. But at the same time, like creating this secrecy dynamic is also flawed because of course some people are going to have to break that secrecy because that's just how humans are. It's hard for us to contain. And so like then you're creating this like pathway towards contention with somebody for some reason, you know, and yeah, it just feels shitty. It feels like shitty no matter what.
Yeah, it's sort of a relational paradox that she's setting up for herself.
Yeah, either they tell people and I'm pissed at them for telling people, and then I feel like I'm judged by them anyway, or I have to tell them everything, and then I feel like I'm judged for having told them everything. Like, you know, it's like either way, she will lose. Yeah. So then at that point, it's just sort of like, yeah, which way do you prefer? Pick your poison.
Yeah, exactly. It is one of those, like, she is damned if she does, damned if she doesn't. And I don't know, the secrecy probably is complicated. But
it is, yeah. We try to, like, as psychologists, we try to avoid, well, for us, certainly, we try to avoid secrets. But, like, with our clients, we try to avoid encouraging them to have secrets because it just isn't good. Like, we as humans want to tell people either because we need to process it with someone or because we want them to know because they're our friend or whatever it is. Like, secrets end up really breeding a lot of problems where there really shouldn't be that kind of problem. You know, there's no need for it. And like, yes, it might hurt to tell someone the truth to start, but secrets are going to make it worse.
Very well said.
Thank you so much.
Are we on testimonials?
Yeah.
Excellent. We are rocking this.
Yay.
So
Yeah.
testimonials, the one I
Awesome.
always forget is the best confessional or straight to camera moment.
Okay, fabulous. I gave this to the castmate of my dreams, Megan Thee Stallion. She
Yes.
gets like permanent testimonial, green light, goods, awards, support, all the trophies. I mean, she was so funny, direct to camera. She was so fucking funny. And then like twerking for America at the end of one of hers. That was so good. I just loved every single moment of her being on camera, every single moment. But then her testimonials were just like the extra good of the good. Like so fun, so funny, great content, so vulnerable. Like going through the line of like what she felt about each castmate. I just loved it. Everything about it. Phenomenal. Go Megan Thee Stallion. Go Peacock. Go Love Island for getting her there. It was so worth it. Phenomenal.
Best casting ever. Even better than Ariana, maybe. Even though, shout out to Ariana. I wanted to say this. Yeah. I think her hosting game, she stepped it up this season, which makes sense. Like it was a new thing for her. I think she's doing a great job. So lots of props to Ariana as well. So I picked this one as well. I had just watched After Sun, and I loved her twerking. Yes, I loved how excited she was and how she was talking about the villa and how, and like also being like, I'm remembering like, I know what it's like to be villainized because she's been through some shit with like lawsuits and people accusing her of things that aren't true. And then like reminding America of the humanity of these people, I thought was wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah. I loved it too. You're right. The way she said, like, I know what it's like to be dehumanized. And I found myself remembering that with the castmates too, that like, these are real people. These people are here and they have real feelings and they are going through this right now in front of us. Oh, I loved it. Yeah. Such great messaging in her testimonial while also being like the fun and the glam and the humor and the twerking of it all.
Loved it. Loved it so much. Thank you, Meg. You are our forever
I love
hot
that we
girl
both
coach,
chose it.
even in our 30s.
Exactly. Exactly. Hot girl coach for life. And I love that we both chose it. It's like really a good sign of like both of our alignment with each other, but also like of she really deserves it. So like fun that we both ended on our last award going to the same person, Megan Thee Stallion.
Mm-hmm. It was maybe her being on that show was maybe the best thing I've seen on TV in a long time. And I watch a lot of TV, so that's I was full of joy, which was wonderful.
Same. Couldn't stand it. Like just loved every minute of it. Totally agree. Yeah. Yay. Oh, what a joy. So friends, you can look forward to the fact that we're going to do these same awards every week. So you'll get like a week's worth of episodes covered through us just doing the awards from that 1 week of content so we'll go through our 8 awards again. And in the meantime, have, good times with yourselves and take care and enjoy the show, watching the show, and think about what awards you'd give to what castmates and moments and so forth. You can also check in on us in other ways. For example, we're on ye old patreon.com/reality test, REALITY test. You can also look it up in the search bar if you just do @reality test. That's on Patreon. We're also on our favorite, Instagram handles, which are @Dr. K Pods and @Dr. Ray Pods, both of our Instagrams. You can find us also on TikTok at @drdr.realitv, REALITV. You can find us on both YouTube and Facebook at Reality Test Pod. The @Reality Test Pod in one word is our channel name for YouTube. You can find lots of things on there, though, by the way. That one's like really happening place. We are also, I would mention, on email. So you can find us at realitycheckpodding@gmail.com. Check podding, PODDING, @gmail.com. If you want to say hi, give us feedback, ask for something in the future, whatever it might be. We would love to hear from you.
Yes. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you can, to donate to us on Patreon so we can keep doing this thing we love. And if you can't do that right now, the rate, review, subscribing really helps us to get more people to find this show. So we're very grateful for it.
And tell all your friends, as you are so good at reminding us as well. And yeah, exactly. Donating the $5, it's $5 a month. That's so little. That's all you have to give. And you'll get lots of other cool things, including our full video episodes. Right now, because there isn't a whole lot happening on there isn't a whole lot happening in terms of additional content because no one's even watching it. So if you would like some of that additional content, which we are always ready to make and happy to do, in addition to our full-blown video episodes, then yeah, we would love to see you on Patreon, and we'll start putting out new behind-the-scenes content. We have plenty to do. It's just not there for nobody. So come hang out with us, spend $5 a month and you'll get lots of cool content. So yay. And with that, we'll see you next session.
Bye.